And just like that, we're live. Let's see if the music's going to into it. There we go. Welcome, everybody. And we're on episode 4. Oh, shit, man. I got an echo in here. Turn that phone off. I had a little bit of an echo. We're waiting on Phil. Phil's doing a professional podcast tour, so he's on another one, but he's Hang on a second. I've got to fix this audio. I got a little audio echo here, but I'm going to go ahead and add some of these guys in real quick.
What's up?
What up?
Hey, we're going to get this takeoff much better. It's coming.
Man, it's coming, but I'm hearing like a serious echo. So I don't know if you guys are, but I've got like
No,
I'm
good.
not getting it either, brother. It sounds crystal clear on this end.
You have to come up with like some sort of catchphrase to start the show or something.
Yeah, let me see. Let me go to these settings here. I'm going to play with this.
It's been shit. Something's not working.
I think we're live. Yeah, we're live.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
here's your echo right there.
Man, that's where all the shits come in. I got it like as soon as I popped it. Oh shit!
You guys do know you're not supposed to look Phil directly in the eyes right now. He is a look away. You just speak at him.
Man, I think I got it figured out.
Man,
maybe
people
now.
pay attention. Mississippi's talking.
Man, welcome back. Man. We need to make all those contests.
Welcome back, Dollar Store West.
Yeah,
I do appreciate that.
Oh
No.
I'm bringing it back, baby.
Oh, it's echoing like I
I
talk.
know not going to give me shit.
Hey, Brad, do you see it? Brad, do you see that? Man, that's a Jack Daniels banner back.
Yeah, I need a little headphone.
That was 2021.
Have you ever heard of that contest?
Yeah, let me just. No big deal. Just see if I can get that.
Here we go.
I'm putting it back on, man. I'm putting it back on.
I'm putting it back on.
As you said, Phil, I am
How fast can
associated
you
with
cover
barbecue.
up that backdrop, bro?
Yeah, I didn't even get the 2023 one, man, and he's going to break out this world title. Oh, good time.
I'm declaring South Haven a world championship this year, Mississippi. Not the only contest I'm going to cook, so that's
You
good.
trying to get Drew a win?
The Drew Invitational.
Drew's got one more in him, man. He's making it dry for 5. I just
Has he got 5? He's got 4
he
right
got
now?
4. If he wins it, it'd be 5.
How many other ones
In a row, right? Yeah.
Yep, 4 in a row. Don't know if he's won it prior to that. I just know he has got 4 in a row.
I do like that Wes's friends come over and go, "Oh, Jack Daniels medal. Did you win the Jack?" He's like, "Nah, this just says that I was there."
I made it.
Hey, you got that all wrong. Did you win the Jack? Yes, I did.
Man, this is just a bottle of liquor. Like
They don't
you can
give
get
this
at the
thing
liquor
away to
store.
anybody.
Especially out of Mississippi, man. It's hard to get the draw out of there.
Yeah.
Whoever wins.
Both those contests, huh, Brad?
Brad just bought a trailer park just so he can get his mail here, so he'd qualify every year.
I don't think Brad needs the help.
I need 2 more this year. 2 more to go.
You're only going to cook 2 more.
No big deal.
I don't know.
So how was the podcast tour, Phil? Can you fill us in? Any endorsements?
Man, shit, we're just rolling into the next one. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, guys, I gotta go. I'm like kind of looking at the clock, and I'm like, man, I gotta be on another one at 8, and it's 8:01. So, man, they're just rolling over contracts. You know what I mean? As far as like what we.
I got it now.
Well, guys, if you'll notice that Phil's got the golden mic on here, no one else has got it. So he knew what was coming.
Man, you know what? I didn't know which mic to get, but I reached out to my boy Snoop Dogg, and he's like, bro, man, you gotta have the gold mic. You know what I mean? I mean, like, you know what I mean? You go big or go home. And I'm like,
I'm surprised Phil.
Good shit to me.
Surprised Phil didn't get one of those T-Pain microphones. He's just auto-tuned the whole time.
And it's probably in the closet. You know,
Man, I think I maybe have my audio figured out now. I think
we need some structure to this thing.
Hey, guys,
I think so. You know, Man, you
Brad's-
think by episode 4, I didn't want to bring Brad on till we kind of got some structure down, and man, it just all went pear shaped.
Brad says
so,
Brad says we need some structure, which means he hasn't watched the first 3 episodes.
and I don't know if Brad will watch any of the episodes.
There's no doubt. I asked him if he was going to watch the first episode.
I know where I
He's
stand.
got
I
a
know where I
show?
stand in the Shiggin fried community.
Yeah, 4th.
Man, Wes, I really gotta say,
Fourth.
Wes, man,
And there's usually about 5 people on the show,
back,
so I'm
bro.
in the top
You know what I
25.
mean?
Hang on. You got to let Brad done talking. He's got the floor. What was that?
Well,
Bill?
no, I'm saying I might be in the top 25 because it's the 4th show, and there's usually about 5 people on each show.
Okay, Brad, you got the
He'll
floor. Go
still
ahead.
pull it out at the end, though.
Okay, Brad, you got the floor.
What are we doing? What are we talking about?
Okay,
tonight?
Brad, you got the
Well,
floor.
man, first of all, man, I want to
World
kind of.
Championship down in CBA land.
That's
You guys
right.
got like
Here we go.
every
Here we go.
weekend down there right now.
Man, we're just trying to follow KCBS's lead.
I don't even know.
and
the
you
case,
guys,
but they've got one now.
We
and I
only
don't think
cooked
that's probably
6.5 months out of the year.
arguable.
man, we went to that one in Gadsden. I think that 61 team World Championship in Gadsden.
Yeah.
I guess it was 2 years ago.
I think you can make an argument, before. or
Yeah,
against
I mean,
it,
they
so.
had a McDonald's 6 towns over. Man, it was pretty cool. You know?
That's where they held awards.
I mean, it was pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, man, there's no place to stay. Man, if you want to
Right.
bring a tent, you can come cook the contest. This is really cool.
But man, I'll get a little. I want to get a little housekeeping. I'll get a little housekeeping done first.
61.
I'm gonna get a little housekeeping done first for all those guys. Man, I want to apologize last week because man, we took in a lot of donations last week, and man, I didn't realize that I could only get 10 people backstage. So man, there were plenty of people that donated, but man, I don't know if I got them all backstage. So if you got left out, man, I apologize. I didn't know we were limited. Man, I thought I could just bring on. I think I even put myself out, and like I said, I think Chris stayed in for a little bit, and there are different people jumping in and out, but man, apparently we're just maxed out to 10 until we find another solution. So
Man, it's cool, bro. It's cool,
yeah.
Bill. I've stayed in the whole time and drank the whole liquor cabinet, but whatever. I appreciate you.
and I will tell you, the little backstage thing was pretty fun because, man, I think the more people drank, the more, man, I think Aaron was showing all of his notes. I mean, it was, like I said, he was spilling everything that people asked in the backstage, but, I do think it was a direct result from all the liquor that was consumed during the show. But this show is probably going to be a little different because, man, I think Phil's the only one probably consuming liquor. Maybe Wes might get in there.
I'm drinking all of them. I'm drinking all of them. We got Wes.
Hey,
Right.
Phil, did we do good this weekend?
Hey,
We
man,
did
me and you,
well. We
boy.
did.
Hey, congratulations, Wes, on that World
Congratulations to you.
Championship. Man, I
We're
wanted to
teammates
tell
now,
you
Brad.
first.
Chris,
You know what
if
I
y'all
mean?
don't know that
That's
work,
my boy. That's my teammate, right?
we could have
So,
done without me.
congratulations to Wes.
Big
More
win.
than anything,
How
everybody.
many teams are down there? There were quite a few teams down there, weren't there? 100, almost 200.
No, fuck, man, like 11, maybe
I think there was
188.
190. I think 180 or 190. I think it was something like that.
I don't know if you call it whatever you want to call it, but it's doing something. You beat 190 people, man. There's no doubt
You
about it.
ain't lying.
Yeah, man, and I think we'll kind of touch on that too because normally on the show we're bringing people in to kind of go over their cooks, and with Phil, obviously, man, I was parked next to him, and man, he was pretty much moaning ever since Chicken turned in that man he was out of the game because he was so disappointed in his chicken. But man, I'll let him kind of talk about that for a little bit, and then I do want to get into. I mean, I think Brad and Chris both know, and obviously the internet, that man, I called both of those guys to kind of talk about pork steaks. I watched the BBQ League video before the contest. So if you guys aren't members of the BBQ League, you may want to go. There's, Brad's got a pork steak video on there of man how to cook pork steaks. So I watched that one kind of frontwards and backwards, and like I said, spoke to Chris, spoke to Brad, and man, it's no secret that that's what I did this weekend, and man, it did well. So, but man,
I'm glad
Phil was the big winner. Yeah, right. Phil was the big winner, and like I said, man, we can talk about his cook for a little bit. I know whenever he got back from Chicken, man, he was pretty disappointed. Man, you can talk about that, Phil. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I can talk about it. I mean, Bill and Vanessa pretty much, they wouldn't even look me in the eye. You know what I mean? I was kind of pissed. And I'm like, Bill's over there, bro, I think that's the best chicken I've ever cooked in my life. And I mean, it kind of went on a little bit, like, And man, I let him go on a little bit, and I'm already kind of pissed because I've been, kind of come back and taste my shit. I don't really taste my shit a lot, but I did, and I didn't like it. And he's like, bro, I probably never turned in a better chicken. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. Man, that's good for you. I fucking probably never turned in a worse one. You know what I mean? I'm kind of pissed. And,
It was pretty sour.
Man, I don't know. I'm normally, man, to a fault. I don't taste my barbecue, right? We turn in the same shit every week, right? And I don't know what it was. I come back and, man, I turned in a half chicken and I turned in wings and, man, they were on the board and it was like 10 minutes. So, man, it was a long walk. It was a long walk back. I was by myself and I came back. Man, I taste the wing and I'm like, man, shit, they've been better. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't really that good, And I'm like, okay, man, let's see what that half chicken's doing. I go to breast and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty fucking dry. So, and I'm like, well, let's see what the thigh's doing. And I cut into the thigh and Bill's like, don't tell nobody, bro. I'm like, man, it was kind of bleeding. Like I think I'm going to get DQ'd. You know what I mean? Like, it was juicy, but it was pretty red, So I'm like, I'm fucked. I'm like, man, every time I tasted a piece of chicken, it got worse. And I'm like, man, I'm totally fucked. And like, man, the best case scenario is they eat the wings and they were middle of the pack, right? Middle of the pack, so CBA is 200 and, whatever, there's 188 teams. So I'm like, man, if I get a 185 in chicken, that's like a good day. And I'm fucked and I'm not going to win the contest. So I was so pissed. I was really pissed. I was really not happy, so I cooked the rest of the contest and I don't know, it seemed like a struggle, man. It never seems like a struggle. Like every week in and week out, it's the same shit. I don't, but it seemed like a struggle for whatever reason. And we have the contest. So, man, we go to awards and I'm like, man, it's all good, so, man, I can win, maybe 2 of the other categories. I told Bill, I'm like, man, what do you like? He's like, dude, I liked everything. I tried some new shit on pork. So I'm trying to get around that because it was fucking horrible. So, Bill's sitting there with this pork gig or whatever. And I'm like, bro, he knew. And Vanessa knows because me and Vanessa are pretty tight or whatever. And she knows I'm kind of like out there. And I'm like, fuck this motherfucker. I'm out of here, whatever, So I made the Tourette's action going on with the chicken. and anyway, so we go to awards and, man, they call chicken. And Bill's like, man, it's the best chicken I've ever cooked in my life. You know what I mean? So, man, I fully expected when it got to first place chicken, it was going to be Bill, right? And it wasn't, but whatever. And I'm like, holy shit, it wasn't. So I knew it wasn't going to be me. Man, I'm like, normally at a big contest, or it doesn't really matter, a big contest, I'm like, man, I'm going to call 11th. And I told Bill, I'm like, bro, I call 111th on chicken. You know what I mean? I'm going to call this in advance. You know what I mean? So they start calling ribs. And, man, my ribs weren't the best ever, but, man, I'm like, man, those got potential. And I think I leaned over to Bill. I'm like, bro, those ribs got a chance. It was about that time. The CBA's got the walk-up music, and I heard my song, like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah. He's like, you fuck them up? Oh, yeah, fuck, that's me. And man, we're going to make them tell our name because you could have the same song. So it played a little while, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's me. So I got an 8th place rib or whatever. So, man, that was pretty good. Big contests like that, at least you walk. It's kind of like the rule. Like, man, you know what? If I don't win it, I want to walk. I want to kind of show up and make sure people know I'm there or whatever. So I had that. And then, man, I had my meats ranked as far as, man, brisket was my best. Ribs was next, pork, then chicken. So we go into pork and I'm like, man, I fully didn't expect a pork walk or whatever. And Bill's over there moaning the whole time. He's like, oh, yeah, bro, I got those pork steaks. They're fucking horrible. He's doing all this shit, or whatever. And then he leans over, and it was about 3rd place. He's like, but I'm still kind of holding on, maybe they will. And the chicken fried starts playing or whatever on the 2nd pork. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. Okay. So, Bill tried a bunch of different shit. And then, bam, he gets up there for a 2nd place pork and a perfect 200 or whatever. So, man, in a big contest like that, man, everything 197 or better. So you never know what's outside of that. And man, he hit that. So we're at awards or whatever. And I'm like, bro, if you hit a brisket walk, dude, it's game over. You know, I'm like, you got this. And he's over there, look at my pork box and this and that or whatever. And he's showing me, you know, I'm like, and I'm like, hey, bro, man, we'll talk about it later, but that's my song. I got to go up there for brisket, you know. So, I mean, they're playing my brisket song while he's kind of showing me that. You know? So I ended up getting 10th place brisket, and you know, whatever. It all worked out like it did, and there was no other walks or whatever. And they called it top 10 overall. And man, we're sitting there talking about it, and man, I told him, I'm like, dude, I'm not in the top 10. I know I'm not. You know, I know that chicken didn't get around the corner. So we're watching it. I'm really thinking Bill's got it. You know, I mean, Robert Smith's got 2 good walks. Sons of Smoke has 2 good walks. They have a perfect 200 in brisket. They just won San Antonio Rodeo. They won the contest last year. Bill's got a perfect 200 pork. Man, I got a couple walks, but man, they ain't shit. You know what I mean? So, man, I'm looking at it, and you know, we're down to 4th or 3rd or whatever they called the teams, and they called 2nd. And man, not many of us knew Black Pepper, right? Like we didn't know who that team was, and it was like, holy shit, man, we didn't have that factored in. And they had a couple nice walks, you know. Kudos to those guys or whatever. And it came down to first place. And man, I'm kind of thinking, man, is it Robert Smith? Man, is it Sons of Smoke? And man, I kind of had Bill pegged for that, and he's right beside me. And you know, I'm like, man, Bill's got a 200 in port. Man, I'm totally out of the equation. And man, they start playing the walk-up music, and they play, you know, I hear that, and I swear it was like 5 or 6 minutes in my mind of what the fuck is that song, you know, but it was only like maybe, you know, a half a second. I'm like, holy fuck, you know, I mean, I just didn't see it coming. So I've never been blindsided more at a contest, and I always expect to win a contest. And I didn't expect to win that one. So it was a pretty good feeling hearing that song and winning that contest, but whatever. That's the story.
And as I'm sitting there too, like we're sitting there and they're starting to call out the top 10, and he's like, I ain't making top 10. My chicken's that bad, bro. It's going to sink me. There's no way.
Dude, I told you that at 11:30. You know, we turned in chicken at 11. I told you that.
Yeah, it's been the theme all day, but even at when they're called, even after 2 calls, he's like, man, even with those 2 calls, there's no way that chicken's gonna be. It's not gonna be a top 100 chicken. So he really was blind. I mean, I was sitting there, man. He was where's he sitting there whispering in my ear, telling me who he thinks gonna win and who it could be. And man, they start playing his song, and man, I don't think I've ever seen him freak out as much as he freaked out, because man, he wasn't expecting it. It was kind of reminded me of the Royal that year. I got 8th, and I wasn't expecting it because I had no calls, to where all of a sudden you hear, you know, your name or your song, to where holy shit, you know. But yeah, it was man, it was pretty cool to watch him freak out. Man, I would have liked to have freaked out, but nevertheless, man, it was really cool to watch him freak out. You know,
I forgot you guys' awards are on. I go hit the live, and they like just started the overall, and they start playing a song, and I've only cooked Texas a few times, so I don't know all the songs. And I'm like, man, I know this song. And then they go, Canned Heat. And I was like, oh, kid.
Pipe bomb bags.
Yeah. So they start playing. I'm like, man, I know this song. And then there goes Kid.
Yeah. And he didn't know. Kid had no idea, because he didn't get any calls. And he's sitting there jaw jacking with Danny, and they start playing his song, and he's like, man, what's that for? It's 10th overall, kid. Get up there. They got to check for you.
Get your ass up there, kid. Man, that's you. You know, he's like, whoa, is that beans? I didn't even cook beans. You know what I mean? He was clueless.
Completely clueless. So, but yeah, and
that's pretty cool.
man, and I did think that pork was my worst turn in, and me and Phil were sitting there, and they're calling teams for pork. Some of the teams they called, man, we didn't know who they were. So I'm like, man, maybe I have a chance if it's more backyard teams getting in there on pork. You know, it wasn't a lot of the normal suspects, if you will.
Man, bro, you looked at me about 3rd place pork, and you looked over, you leaned over and go, man, I'm kind of holding out. Like, I hated my pork, but man, I'm kind of holding out a little hope. And man, it was about that time the 2nd place pork hit, and it was blank, you know, it was the chicken fried song. Like, you know what I mean? Like on cue. Right.
I told Bill, we talked afterwards, and I'm like, man, you know, down there, not certified judges and stuff. And, it's a pork steak, man. I mean, how many of those judges are like, man, this is like my Uncle Ray used to make in the backyard. Like it might have just hit home with them, you know?
Man, it must have, you know, it definitely, and it was, man, I didn't think the box was good looking, and it scored 10s all over the place. I think the drop score was like a 9-10-9 or something. So, and it was actually tied for first. It's just a randomizer lost the electronic coin flip, if you will. So.
I'm just blown away that you sauce with sweet and sour sauce.
I remember you leaning over and telling me that, Bill, about third or fourth place pork. Like, man, bro, it sucked, but I'm kind of holding on to hope, right? You told me that. And it wasn't long after that, bam, you know, perfect score, 200, whatever. Here goes Bill. And so we're, man, so they go in the overall top 10. And, man, I had told him like way earlier in the day, I'm like, man, it's going to be pretty embarrassing. I get 3 walks. And, man, I know I'm not going to top 10 this contest, right? And so anyway, so we're doing that. And they're calling the top 10 and then down to like 4th or 5th. And, man, I don't know if you remember, Bill, but I'm like, but I'm kind of still holding on to hope that maybe I'm in there, you know, and I don't know if you remember that, but I forgot it pretty quick because, man, they called third and then they called reserve, which I was I was waiting on that. Dun, 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 and I was waiting on you to, man, I kind of had you pegged, right? Like you got 200, all your other meets were good, and, man, you're there. And, man, when they called the last song, I'm like, man, that was a blindside.
So, Phil, what'd you get in chicken and pork?
Yeah, so I was 8th in ribs, 10th in brisket, 12th, and they only call the top 10, right? 188 teams or whatever. So 12th in pork, we didn't hear that call. And, man, chicken, which, man, I was hoping was in the top 100, it was 22nd. You know what I mean? So
are you cooking a whole bird and then cutting it and turning it in half? Or you cooking half separate?
Yeah, spatchcock, spatchcock bird, cutting it in half, and, man, I cook wings or whatever. So
I just didn't know if you cooked 2 different halves, you know, the hope of one of them being cooked better than the other. But when you cook a whole spatchcock, man.
It was a spatchcock. And I'm like, you know, so I mean, I'm a little disheartened. I'm like, man, I'm totally fucked here. I mean, that's the way I felt. You know what I mean? I'm like,
man, I don't think one half of the spatchcock bird can be better than the other. If one half is dry, I'm pretty sure the other half is dry too.
I'm over there praying for the angel table. I'm like, man, how can I get around this? And I couldn't find any way around it, you know, in my brain. I'm like, man, I'm whatever. I'm going for meat. I'm going for ribs, pork, and brisket after this. You know, my overall was shot as soon as I got back and tasted some of that stuff. I just didn't feel like it was in the cards. And
we've all been there. I mean, we've all walked in something that we thought was shit.
No. I mean, I just can't believe they finally got it right. You know what I mean?
Man, Brad texted me earlier, said the judging is still wrong. Still off.
Man, I told him don't change the
I was talking about your loss.
Oh shit, man! Brad's got a lot of that's a lot of KCBS trophies in the back. Fuck.
Yeah, I think me and Phil talk about how winning never gets old. I think winning is getting old for Brad. You know, so,
it never really gets old. I do think that we all need to go down to Texas, like everybody I know, and all put chicken fried in for our walk song.
Oh, here it comes.
We'll see how that plays out. Get about 15 of us down there, and we'll just all go chicken fried one year.
I cooked 3 pork steaks as Chris Schaefer's advice to me was to cook 3. So I went with 3. So answering man meat barbecue. So he's in the
shittiest
comments.
pork ever, right, Bill?
It was, you know, and man, I mean, I think man meat talked.
You were over there moaning about your pork.
I was.
The way I was moaning about my chicken. And I'm like, man, was your pork fucking bleeding? And you're like, no. You know what I mean?
Medium rare pork.
He's over there. Oh, fuck, it's horrible. Man, if I can get around that pork, you know what I mean? And of course, you know, they go do the pork and whoosh, 200, perfect score.
Confetti flying. Yeah.
Confetti flying. I'm not cooking it next week. Yeah, I might cook it next week.
Are you cooking it next week, Bill?
I am cooking it. I am going to cook pork steaks again. So, and I'm going to try to fix everything I did wrong. So it was the first time I ever actually cooked pork steaks.
And for the record, it was not a perfect, right?
That's right. That's right. So
Okay,
there's room
I mean,
for
so we always want to fix what we did wrong, for the record.
I do like that. I like that Bill called me on Wednesday and said, "Hey man, how do you cook a pork steak?" I was like, "You're gonna take your first
on Wednesday."
I mean, yeah.
I mean, first you buy a pork butt and you cut it. You know what I mean? Baby steps.
Well, you
And I'm
think your
pretty sure
first
that's how the
shot at
conversation
it.
went.
Your first shot at it's going to be at a comp,
Man, I don't think we need donations for Phil to drink tonight.
Oh my God.
Man, I'm glad we got a big group of drinkers on stage. I mean, everybody raise their glass.
Yeah.
Here you go. I got you, Phil. I got you, big guy.
Oh, there he is.
I did watch.
Hey, man,
Good
Jack
job, man.
Daniels, politically incorrect. Jack Daniels team of last year. Wes Callahan, my boy, right there.
I'm in,
You hear
boy.
me?
Yeah.
Last day of the season, big buck down. Wes is my boy.
Winner of life is the way I call it.
Winner of life. Teammate extraordinaire. Like, man, LC
Well,
Barbecue's never been on a roll like they've ever been since Wes has joined the team. You know what I
I
mean?
think you've lost since I've been on the team.
Man, I haven't. You know what I mean? And man,
Let's give a little background to that. I'm gonna give hang on a second, Phil. I'm gonna give a little background to that. Hold on, Phil. Hang on. So I think Phil posted his results like the first week after the show. Man, I think I can't remember what he got, but Wes gets in the comments, man, since we're on the same team now, I feel like I won. Wes was a part of the show. So Wes is trying to jump on every win Phil wins.
Hey, look, man, I'm just jumping on coattails. Can you blame me?
Wes,
you guys cook
hey,
50
Wes,
weeks out of the year.
Wes, you've never cooked better, bro.
I feel like I need to give some of this knowledge out too. So in backstage, we're gonna give all Phil's.
Man, I've never seen you cook better.
Me neither. Hey,
So,
you just keep. I don't want to
man,
get that cup empty here in a minute.
Yeah.
Bill, I got a real question. Bill.
Congratulations to us.
Okay, we got real questions, Phil. Hang on. We got real questions.
Did you cut collars into the pork steaks? Did you get the whole bone-in pork steak?
So I had 3 pork steaks, and then I had
Hey, for
2
the
collars.
record, Chris,
Yeah.
man,
collars.
nobody in Texas know what a collar is. For the record, but whatever.
I had 2 collars that I sliced up and cooked those just like I did the pork steak. So
Yeah.
Basically miniature pork. I mean, kind of just what you told me.
Yeah.
Man, I spoke to Brad too, and man, I called both of you guys. I think I called Brad on the way down. Spoke to him, and he basically, I'd watched the video. Like I said, the video is that's pretty much exactly what I did was what was in the video. I think the video on the BBQ League Brad's got, they're a little thinner. Man, but I think Brad, you covered that in the video. Yeah, I mean, he just had some Walmart ones, but the process was pretty much the same. Cooked them on the dry.
Man, it was pretty much the same, but what Bill said was like, man, I want to make sure whatever Brad did in Cedar Park, I don't do. You know what I mean?
Do it a little better. What they got wrong in Cedar Park was the judging.
That's the only part was wrong.
The next year I got
Everything else is right.
So we finally got it right, and I won the contest, man. But I was in the running until I think I got like a 162 or something that day.
Oh,
You did
There's no coming back from
that
that.
was a kick in the nuts.
Man, it was not good. I mean, it's good. They did not like it. Let's put it that way. I almost poisoned Michael Simon too because he's allergic to raspberry.
That's right.
And he's sitting there eating, and he already had chicken, and he comes back and he's like, "Man, is there raspberry in this?" I said, "I guarantee there's probably raspberry about everybody's food you're eating today."
Right.
Oh, that makes sense. So we almost killed the Top Chef down in Cedar Park with the salt raspberry.
It's funny, you say that because when they saw me in Louisiana, it was several episodes later. I think it was the next season or whatever. They come in, hey, Michael wants to see you with the ribs. Man, you don't have any raspberry in your ribs, do you? I said, well, not yet. And we may want to taste one. He's allergic to raspberry, So,
well, he did. He came. When we won Memphis in May, they weren't really featuring us. We didn't make the cut, and they want to get coverage of it right afterwards. So he came running right over there. We've got we've got some of the belly that we're doing up. We're getting ready to give it to Michael so we can try it on camera. And Tim grabs a bottle of Ras and just a big old, just as much as you can dump on there. And I'm like, well, there we go. We're not going to, we're not going to be trying that today on camera. So it was pretty funny.
Man, y'all got a big event coming up this weekend, the BBQ League, right, Brad? Is it?
We do, yeah. We're going to be down in
coming up
Daytona,
now?
man. We're going to be at 500 on the infield, cooking. Well, we got the first things at Proud Souls. If everybody's in the area, I know Chris is going to be there. If you're in the area, you're a BBQ League member, come by. We're going to have Tim's going to be there, Luke Darnell, Chris, myself, Chris Webb going to be there too. So we're just going to have like a little meet and greet. We're going to be cooking some food, cooking some ribs, cooking everything up. So if you're in the Orlando area this evening, Thursday evening, 6 to 9, we'll be out there drinking Tim's beer and just having a good old time. So that's a BBQ League members only deal. And then we're going to Daytona to do, we're going to be doing a little bit of impromptu filming content for the BBQ League, but hopefully some for the Food Network. We don't know. They're just coming down, Michael and Nick from, his producer. They're just going to come down there and shoot a little, we're just shooting some stuff, just low key, like there's no agenda. There's no, there's no place for it to live. So, hopefully somebody picks it up and puts it somewhere. If not, man, we'll put it on the BBQ League and we'll have it out there on, Michael, I'm sure he'll have it on his channels and everything else. So it should be a good time, man. Just down there, even though it looks like it's been a pour rain the whole time. So we were worried about the cars making too much noise. We got to be done filming by then before they fire up the cars. We may not have to worry about that. It's just, we're just cooking in the rain. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, Brad, I just wanted to pop in and ask you, as would you say the better half of the Tim duo, the Blues Hog duo, could you not get a Super Bowl ticket? I mean,
yeah, man. So Tim's been working that relationship for like 5 years, and it finally paid off. And I texted him. I said, "Man, you've been," and of course for him, he's got sauces and rubs and everything else. So him going out and doing events makes a lot more sense than me going out and doing, consumer facing events. And so he's been doing stuff, with Dane and El Bandito Yankee Tequila for I don't know how long he's been doing it, and it finally paid off. I saw a picture of Brother D. This kind of guy Tim is, if you're wondering. I saw a picture of Brother D with Tim's sister-in-law Tracy going out to Las Vegas, and I'm like, oh man, that's cool. They're going to the game or whatever. No, they had one ticket. Tim took it. Everybody else, I don't know, they were picking them up, dropping them off. I don't know what they were doing, man, just hanging out. So I've been jokingly trying to hire Brother D for years. And I'm like, Brother D, if you were working for me, man, I'd give you my Super Bowl ticket. But the only difference is I wouldn't have one.
Brother D's in the parking lot.
No, dude, he was all the way out in Vegas. He didn't even get anywhere near the building. Tim went out there. I thought that was funny. I talked to both of them today. It was a good story.
And Schaefer, are you going?
A good one to go to, man. You talk about a great game and being in Vegas and everything else. I get jealous of Tim too much, but yeah, that was one of the times. It would be nice.
When they said they had a streaker, I texted everybody. I said, "Was that Tim?"
Could have been.
Hey, man, that guy looked shorter. Man, Chris, I got a question. Like, look, man, you got a really obscure background. Like, what do you got going on there? Like, it's nothing.
In my background?
Yeah.
So
Just a
I'm
wall.
actually, it's just a wall, is it? But it's actually
Tell us a little bit more.
Phil and Bill and I have trophies to lend you if you want some.
Thanks, buddy.
No, man, I got it. Man, we were doing the class last week, and I'm like, what am I going to do with all these 10th place trophies? And I'm thinking, man, we'll send them Schaefer when we do the show. Get all the 10th place trophies.
10th place out there.
Hey, I've got plenty of 10th place trophies.
I always joke I'm going to give them out.
My bad. We were going to send them West. Not you,
Yeah.
Chris. We're going to send them West.
It's funny. Is the first time we did the show, whoever was like, "Man, you got a cool black background there," and I showed her by my phone. I'm in my daughter's playroom. Like, there's nowhere else in my house that's like quiet than I'm in my daughter's playroom right now. So it's ridiculous.
I love it.
And as much as I hate to admit it, that wall looks black, but it's actually Dallas Cowboys blue. So yeah.
Oh shit.
I want to see if we can get our producer Wes. Are you out there, Wes?
West,
I'm always here, brother. 24/7.
So can you get the link to the BBQ League, the website, to put it maybe in the chat for people that don't know that, man? And I don't know if there's been a spike on watching that pork video, but if you want to do pork sticks,
man, we're taking shots tonight,
man.
Bill.
We'll
I'm drinking over here. I don't feel
Man, I
buckets
don't think
Yeah,
anyone's
we will be.
donated.
A lot of
any
the stuff
crap.
we're doing this weekend too.
Man,
if
it's a
you
big
sign up.
drinking show, right? Chris, you drink a lot, right?
Yeah.
Brad, you drink a lot. Bill, you drink a lot. Wes, man, we have a
All the
drink
time,
or
man.
whatever.
That's a painkiller to me.
What were you
Man,
saying,
One
Brad?
more of those, and you're going
Man,
on
I got
mute the
the,
rest
I got
of the
the
show.
kids mixing them up.
No, I was saying we will be going live a lot this weekend too on our
Are you?
Facebook page
Yeah.
back behind it. So if you get bored, man, you want to see some inner workings there, Daytona 500 will be live and at that event there in Orlando as well. So if you sign
Are
Hey,
you
up,
going,
on-site
Chris? Are
David.
you making the trip, Chris, or no?
No,
Chris,
I'm
are you
down
going?
there. I'm down there cooking Haines City. It's a KCBS comp.
And how far is that from Daytona?
I don't even know.
it's probably like 40, depending. I mean, traffic sucks there because it's just off of I-4 there between Tampa and Orlando where he's cooking.
Yeah.
Right.
And so depending on traffic, it can be anywhere from hour and a half to, but he's going to be coming to see us in Orlando, which is probably about a 45-minute trip from the contest.
Yeah, I said no. I'm like
Cooking
40
the
minutes from
KCBS
there.
contest in Florida. Come on out.
Right.
Yeah, shit. Well, if time allows, can we circle back on Smoking on the Rio a little bit?
Yeah, we might. I mean, let's see where we at on time just now. Let's see. Yeah, we're only 36 minutes into it. Uh-oh.
Yeah, fuck. If it's early, man, let's circle back to ribs on San Antonio Rodeo. You know what I mean? I mean, just like things we talk about for the show that people want to hear. You know what I mean?
You might need to take a drink first, Phil.
Man, fuck it, man. If we got anybody want to like promote the show, man, I've been drinking. Man, I don't see anybody donating. You know what I mean?
Bill, just give me the sign. I'll get one.
Wes is my boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Man, I think Wes is about to put you on mute.
but we like to both kill ducks.
World
You know what I
champions
mean? We
here.
like to drink and shit. And man, one of my boys, KP, we talk about it on the show or whatever. And then Wes is like, man, ain't nobody ever out Mississippi to Mississippi boy like Kip Polk. You know what I mean?
That's the truth, man.
Man,
You
it's
got
the
a
truth.
credit score to prove it. I can promise
Man,
you.
I'm over here. Like, it ain't easy doing this show, right? I get a lot of podcasts or whatever, and they're talking and they ask questions. Man, Kip Polk's right there. He's in live. Like, he should be on the show. You know what I mean? And he's not. And half the time
I
he's
think he
sleeping.
should.
I'm like, man, you need to wake up. You need to be in the show or whatever. And then he's like, man, you know what? It's a big contest like that. You know what? I mean, how'd you finish? Did you finish 11? I finished 10th. And that's what it's all about. It's beating your friends.
Robert pissing me off. Thanks for the donation, brother. Appreciate it.
You guys
Man,
see?
I don't know if
you
we're
guys,
gonna make an after show this week.
Did you guys?
Are we
Did you-
already on the after show?
No.
Did you guys see Jordan's comment?
Yeah, I put it up there. Phil's
Phil-
talking in cursive. So Jordan's coming down this week. He's cooking the CBA. He's coming down to try his hand at a CBA. So,
I wonder if he's running half
good.
chickens.
man, I don't know. Let's ask him. See if he'll pop it in the comments. If he's going to run thighs or half chickens, or what's he going to do?
Bill, you ready for Houston?
I did think, kind of circling back, I did think that half chicken, when I cooked San Antonio, man, I didn't really get to try my half chicken because I only cooked one and you had to put two. I cooked a spatchcock bird and man, I had to cut it in half and put them both in the box. And so I didn't really get to try it. So obviously Smoking on the Rio, I cooked 3 halves. Man, I loved everything about it. I thought the texture was great. I thought it was wonderful. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm feeling pretty confident on half chicken.
You would have
right
won
now.
the contest if you'd have hated it more.
Yeah. So I'm feeling real good about half chicken to the point where, man, I don't know if I want to cook half chicken this weekend and just cook thighs. But, I got my boss, the wife. She's like, I think we ought to just stick with the half chicken until Houston, once Houston gets out of the way. Because most people know most of the time I'm cooking thighs in CBA. And, man, they've done well for me. So, but equally so, man, the half chicken did really good for me at San Antonio. Her bird hit, I think, 8th. And, man, it was obviously me cooking both of them to some degree, just kind of telling her what to do. And I hit first. So, man, like I said, I'm feeling really good about it. And I didn't get to try those, but man, this one I felt really good about it. But man, you know how it goes. Sometimes you really love them, and then they don't do so hot. I think it hit like 30th place. It wasn't terrible. My brisket's really what killed me there. I think brisket was 70 something place over the weekend. That's the one that really sunk me in. Man, I felt good about it. It was just my normal brisket. So
Yeah.
but
We've
man,
all
it
had
is
it
what it
happen.
is. Yeah.
I was in Alabama in December, and I tried my ribs, and I'm like, man, they're not good. And my dad tried them, and he goes, I mean, they're not terrible. And I go, well, that's exactly what I'm going for, Dad. Not terrible. And then we 180 ribs, and you're like, okay, whatever.
Absolutely. Always listen to Pops. Hey, got a question for Serge is asking. Brad, when's that brine going to be available, man?
You got it, man. It's Bill's. I had, and I don't want to, a lot of people use them, and Bill does. I had a terrible time with the co-packer, and I just pulled out. So right now, I'm using Bill's. So that's what I run with. At some point, we'll probably have it out more for our restaurants, but we'll have it out in the line because we're opening the chicken restaurant here in about 6 weeks, and we'll have it out to the market at some point. But I can tell you that Bill's is from the same origins, and if you get on there and you follow some of the changes, that Bethany does on the BBQ League or whatever, man, you'd have this exact same brine. Our brines were the same. I just added some phosphates and some MSG to it. Essentially a little bit different spices. So if I was going to buy one, which I am buying one, actually I'm not going to buy one because I'm giving him this endorsement. I'm going to have Bill send me some. And that's what I'd use, man. Use the game over.
Yeah. Well, while we got you going, I was going to ask you. I know a lot of people have asked me, "What's your schedule look like this year?" I mean, I don't even know. Are you going to hit it hard? Are you going to kind of do 20, 15?
No, I know. I'll probably like in I don't even know what year it is. We're in 24. In 22, I did about 25 contests, and I think that's probably what I'm going to circle back around to. Say 20 to 25 contests, and it may go up or down, just depending. I need to get a couple here. I'd like to just to get qualified for the Jack, but I'm not even pushing that. I'm not cooking that contest in Florida. I did the one in Florida a couple weeks ago, Lakeland, just because my boy wanted to go to a contest. He's 10 years old, and he'd always been he's always been kind of the short end of the stick because my family kind of quit going. When I was first starting out, my family went to every one of them. So when my two daughters were young, they get to go to every contest, and my son's kind of been screwed in that aspect. So I'm trying to take him to a contest or two, but that was really the point of that one, wasn't to cook a lot. So I honestly don't know that I'm going to cook again until after Memphis in May right now.
Wes, I know.
Brad's and how many do you have right now, Brad? Don't you sitting on 5 or 6?
I'm sitting on 5. Yeah, I'm sitting on 5. I had 6 wins, but one of them was under one of the qualifiers, so I'm sitting on 5 wins. And I mean, that's a downplay the Jack or anything like that. I really want to make it, but for me, man, I've been there like 6 or 7 times, and I'm okay if I don't make it. You know what I mean? It's like I'd like to go cook it, but I'm not going to go out there and cook every weekend just for the Jack Daniels. If it comes,
and you've already won it too. So I mean,
that helps.
It's already it's a box that you've already picked. Yeah,
no big deal. What was that?
So, hey, I said no big
deal. I've been
deal.
sitting here drinking my coffee. We were joking around about World Championships. I've been sitting here drinking my coffee or my tea with my Memphis and May one, waiting for somebody to comment. Nobody did. We were talking that earlier.
Man, do you have one that's the most special? I mean, is there one that's the most special to you, Brad, or no?
Man, I think the Jack is just because it's such an intimate, like all that's there are cooks. When you're at the Royal, you're surrounded like 600 people, and I've gotten reserve there, gotten first place calls, gotten whatever. Memphis, man, there's a ton of people there, but the Jack is like walking up there, and Chris can attest to this, man. It's like everybody in barbecue that coming up and shaking your hand. Like it takes forever to get up to that stage. You got like Johnny Trigg, you got Tuffy Stone, you've got just legends in barbecue. Chris Lilly, coming up, and it's such a small environment that they can come up and talk to you and shake your hand. And I think that's just as far as just a big call, man. That one was the most special, just because. Not that there aren't bigger contests or not that there aren't better wins, but just because the intimacy of the, being in the hollow and winning it really probably was, my most special. I really enjoyed King of the Smoker too when I won that in 2018. It was a similar thing, right? You're there with Myron, Johnny Trigg, you're there with everybody that you've heard about because they would always bring 6 or 7 legends in and then 18 other cooks. So King of the Smoker is probably a close second because the same feeling. And then you get to go sit down and you kind of hanging out with those guys all the rest of the night. So those two are, man, is the best feeling wins. I don't know if they're the biggest wins, but they're the best, the best feels after a win.
The Jack's crazy, and I've said it before, and Brad will probably echo me on this. Like, I've never had a comp where like everyone just starts closing in on you. Like if they think you've won it, man, it's like people just start moving towards you because they got a good chance you won, and it's a weird feeling, man. It's really cool.
Well, I got my brisket call, and a couple of years before that, Tim had 3 really good calls, including a 180 in brisket. He didn't get chicken call, but he had a 7th in ribs and a top 5 in pork, and then he 180 brisket. And Johnny, when he's walking up there to get brisket, you hear Johnny come up there and congratulate him. He's like, "Oh, you got this, Tim," giving him a big hug and everything else, And so after I got my brisket call, I'm walking up there, and Johnny kind of stands up, and I kind of point at him. I said, "Sit back down." I said, "I'll give you a hug if I get one more call. I'm not gonna let you Tim shear me on this deal." And end up sitting there. Then there's been many a times I've had three calls at a major, and you end up that you get those big contests, and just like Phil was talking about, like you can get no calls and be up there, or you can have 3 good ones. Joe damn near had 3 180s a couple years ago at the Royal, and he ended up third. Like, you never know when you got those things. You never know what that third call or that fourth call is going to be. And so you're just sitting there, and you're just like, "Johnny, sit down. I love you, man. I'll give you a hug here in a minute, but let me get that big call first, and then we'll do it." So I didn't want him, I didn't want him jinxing me like that.
I definitely remember that year that I got 8th overall, and Corey Mikes was sitting behind me. Corey and Fred we were all sitting right there together, and man, I come unglued with 8th overall with no calls. And man, you and Joe, I pegged y'all kind of going 1 and 2. I wasn't really tracking QU as much as I was tracking you guys, and man, I'm up there glad hand hugging everybody and doing all the stuff. And man, I turn around and man, I see you're trying to give me a high five, and you're holding a number 7, and I'm holding the number 8, and and I'm like, "Oh shit, man." I just, in my mind, you've had 3 calls, I thought, man, you were going to be, obviously,
and I've had 3 calls at the Royal 4 times, and I got a reserve, and I've never won it. And I've been sitting there one year, Tim no call reserved it, and I had 3 calls. And I'm sitting there, thinking I won it, and I think I finished like 50th or something that year, because the other one was like 154 in chicken or something ridiculous like that.
Everybody that year was like, "Oh man, Brad and Tim just went 1 and 2." When they called him reserve, and then they called 913, and we all went, "What just happened?" Because we knew you had it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, that's those big contests, man. You just you can't, you can't take anything for granted, and you can do that. Like, you can do something where you get 2 calls and you're in it, you got a shot. That's why you never, when Fred won it, man, he had 2 calls. It's just, I think Jordan had 2 calls this year when he won it. He got a call on Thursday, was his 3rd call. And it's just, I think it's just like, you never know. You don't know if you're in it. Like this year, it could have been anybody. I mean, and that jokes aside about the KCBS doing it, but you have to feel that 2 calls this year.
Yeah. I had 2 calls. I thought I was in it. I had a pork call and a brisket call, and man, I was worried about my chicken, and it ended up being my ribs that sunk me. So
and I had 2. I think I had 2 top 5s. With a 180, and you're sitting there going, okay. And then I got, I was 15th, 14th, 15th, whatever it was.
Yeah,
which is good. Which is good finish. It's a good finish, but you just never, those big contests, man, you never know. Can't take anything for granted.
Can I at least say that I thought I was in it too? I mean,
Jim too. So I said, I told you the whole field had it.
Yeah,
even Wes had 2 calls to the Royal this year.
I did have 2 calls, man. We got to find out.
I thought you had a chance. I was listening to it at home, and I honest to God, you were getting calls, man. I thought you had. I mean, everybody had a chance.
Man,
I did not. I didn't.
Congratulations, Wes, on your world championship.
We did well at the Royal this year too, Phil. You're piggybacking.
And for you, Chris, which one was the Jack the most special for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not even close. We won the KCBS Invitational twice, and I think there's still Brad said kind of question marks about.
No big deal.
I think there's still question marks about how big those are. You know what I mean? I mean, the Jack's by far and away the biggest thing.
Right.
All right. So if you had to choose, Chris, would it be the Jack or would it be the Royal?
Jack, hands down. I mean,
obviously, you want it. I mean, I appreciate that.
Well, the Royal's a monster win. Anytime you can beat 500 teams,
Jack takes talent. Just say what you feel. I think the select.
That's kind of the way I feel about San Antonio.
Man, I mean, pretty much whatever the fuck we want is what we feel like is the badass motherfucker.
I truly think though, like, and I think a lot of people are this way. Like when I started cooking, like the Jack is the one you circled. You're like, oh, I want to go to the Jack and win the Jack. I mean, the Royal's a monster, but I mean that was the big one for me 10 years ago. You know.
It's cool. The Jack Daniels is cool because what the Jack Daniels people do for you.
Oh yeah, I mean the Jack treats you amazing too. I mean, it's crazy.
They still come into the restaurants and do stuff, and their marketing team still keeps in touch. And you know what I mean? It's just it's really cool. Well, I'm sure Fred won another. You're the luckiest brisket cook on the planet. You're pretty good too.
Unofficial the best podcast in the world.
I did talk to Donnie Teal. Donnie Teal, he told me whenever he won the Jack, and he had radio stations all over the country reaching out to him. You know, and I don't know. I think he said when he won the Jack, man, it paid only like $2,500. But even way back then, radio stations, everything was.
It's just a name. I think in my experience in restaurants, like Memphis is the one everybody asks about. Like Memphis is the one everybody knows, and they always ask, "Hey, you cook Memphis in May. You cook Memphis in May." Our proximity, the American Royal people kind of know about it, but it's not like it front and center like it is in people in Kansas City. Nobody knows really about the Jack as far as the barbecue contest goes, but immediately as soon as you attach Jack Daniel's name to something, it lends credibility to it.
Yeah.
And
I think in Texas, they do the same with the Houston Rodeo, even though in Texas, it's all Houston Rodeo, which most of it's legacy teams.
It normally is, but really what I want to tell you guys is, Mike, can we circle back to
Smokin on the Rio, man. It's probably the biggest World Championship.
I mean, in Texas. Really wants to, Houston is cool, Jack's cool, and the American Royal's cool, but man, at the end of the day, everybody wants to win Smokin on the Rio. You know what I mean? That's what man, I'll tell you what, man, I love to win those, but really, I want to win Smokin on the Rio. You know what I mean? That's what people tell me.
We're in no position to argue.
I ain't got a dog.
Chris and I have ever.
Always tell me is I want to win Smokin on the Rio.
I think Brad and I are going to go to Smokin on the Rio next year.
I don't know. I don't need that embarrassment in my life, man. I'll get 80th place and Smokin on the Rio. I don't know.
You're coming to Cedar Park, though, Brad, huh? You are going to come to Cedar Park, though, huh, Brad? Maybe.
I'm thinking about it. Yeah. So I'm in a quandary because I kind of enjoyed cooking in Costa Rica, and they put those contests on the same weekend. So I'm at a crossroads here. So I am. I said I wasn't going to cook till after Memphis. That weekend, first weekend in April, will be the first one I cook. So gotcha. I will either go down to Cedar Park again, or I'll fly into Costa Rica.
Which is really good information. But I mean, can we circle back to Smokin on the Rio?
Smokin on the Rio.
Man, we'll cover Smokin on the Rio in the after show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Smokin on the Rio is like 24 hours from my house. It's a haul.
Chris, it's 24 hours from my house.
I mean, we were pretty much in Panama. I mean,
pretty much.
It's a Costa Rica contest.
Yeah,
right.
No, there's big win. We don't want. I agree. That's probably the biggest win this year.
Man, I agree with you, Brad. Man, that's the best thing you said all night. I mean, I can't agree with you more. I'm telling you, man, Troy Aikman ain't got shit, but man, you make sense.
I like your chances this weekend too down there. What's the Shiggin coming up this weekend? Is that what we got?
Shiggin, yeah. We've got.
I'd like to cook that one, but I couldn't make it, so that'd been fun one to go to.
How many teams do you guys have there, Bill?
I think it's maybe if Fred's in the chat. I think he's in the chat. I want to think maybe it's 160, maybe. It might be 160, 170.
Houston's week after that, right, Bill?
What's that?
Houston's the following weekend, right? So you kind of.
So yeah, I mean it's Shiggin this weekend, and then Houston, and then Austin the very next weekend.
All right, yeah.
Wow.
So we go, Shiggin, Houston, Austin, and then there's one up outside of Dallas. Man, it's paying $70,000. It's a CBA up there outside of Dallas.
Nice.
So basically, February is a month of World Championships in Texas.
Pretty much.
Man, I tell you what. They're all going to be 100+ team cook-offs, if not 200+ team cook-offs. All of them, even the one up there outside of Dallas. I mean, they're paying $70,000. Man, there's going to be, like I said, I bet you there'll be 100, 150 teams at that one.
That's
Austin,
just normal in Texas. I remember Brad and I cooked Uvalde a couple of years ago. And I think it had 147 or 157 in Uvalde.
Pretty normal.
Yeah, man, we got a lot of big cook-offs, and man, especially in this time, it seems like they're all back to back to back. So I mean, even after that, we've got another one coming up in Cowboy Stadium where they're giving away a 60,000. It's in Cowboy Stadium. They're giving away a 60,000 RV for a grand, a 60, and then I think reserve grand is a suite for a preseason game at the Cowboys preseason game for reserve grand.
Yeah, they really want to fuck you. They'll give you 2 of those.
We'll see if Brother Dickie's busy if one of us wins it. You know.
Yeah,
when is that? When's that one at the Cowboy Stadium?
It's in May, right? May something.
I think you're right. I think it's May. But man, they're stacked.
Let me come down there and win that for you, Chris. This is you're like my kid at the carnival.
I want to go.
Come down there when you sweet at the Cowboys game. I'll do it for you.
I want to go.
Right.
Might be fun.
Man, I'll probably reserve it, you know.
Can we? I think Brad and I should just go.
Yeah, reserve don't get shit.
Reserve gets a Cowboy suite, you know.
Brad and I should unveil.
Reserve don't get shit.
Brad and I can unveil the team Getting Heavy and go cook that one.
Getting heavy.
Getting heavy. We're there. We got heavy.
Heavy basted.
There's a lot of good combinations.
There is, yeah.
No, I think that's the 2. I think that's it.
Yeah.
We covered them all. Does everybody enjoy Usher at the halftime show?
Every day.
Slow Jam Sunday?
I wasn't.
It wasn't Prince, man. That Purple Rain deal that Prince did was.
Soon as he started the second song, Brad texted me and said, "Now we're making babies."
He started out, he's a little fast. I think him and Alicia Keys might have made a baby.
Right. Yeah, somebody was saying he was wearing like a uniform from like the movie Dodgeball, I think.
Yeah. The roller skating kind of lost me, man. They started roller skating around. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that.
Yeah. And you, Chris, what's your schedule look like? You're cooking Florida, yeah?
Yeah, I'm cooking Florida, and then I kind of had some stuff going on at the restaurant. It's going to require me to be there this year a little more than I honestly anticipated. So I'm kind of pulling back and just cook when I can. I was going to run pretty hard, but I think I'm just going to kind of cook when I can and let things shake out.
And have you done pork steaks before in a comp or no?
So in St. Louis, when I was cooking the St. Louis Barbecue Society, like pork steak was a side category, ancillary category all the time. So we cooked them a ton. I've never turned them in to KCBS or even an SLBS for the pork category, but we cooked pork steaks a lot.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even legal until a couple years ago.
Yeah,
right. That's right.
Right before that Cedar Park, my famous failure at Cedar Park. That was really the first year it was legal to do that in KCBS.
That's right. Yeah, because they had the 4-pound minimum rule, I guess. Right.
I did a couple of years ago. I wanted to eat pork, and I posted a picture of an old pork steak box just to try to break the internet, but I didn't actually.
I remember that. I remember that pork steak box.
I remember that. Yeah. Hey, I want to ask all of you guys, every one of you. I'll start with you, Brad, because I think you jump out there more than most. What's the craziest shit you've ever tried to cook in a contest? Did you I just want to try it. I know Darren was turning pulled pork into Jack, which cost him.
Can I answer for Brad? Can I answer for Brad?
Please.
Let's hear it.
Chicken quarters.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was in a chicken one meat only.
I remember that because me and him were texting back and forth about those chicken quarters.
I couldn't even fit the damn things in the box, man. I finally just shoved them all in and just shut the lid and sent it out there.
That box.
They were. I thought they were good. They ate good and everything, but they were just they were so soft. I overcooked them so hard because I went a little bit longer. But they were super succulent, but they were really, really, really overcooked. And so when I moved them, they had to all just mush. You know what I mean? It had to look like that, and I got killed. But I thought I was laughing. I was like, God, it's one of those deals where it's so bad, it's going to score. You know what I mean?
Right. I know exactly what you mean.
The box looks ridiculous.
I got the low score, but yeah, it was.
The box looked ridiculous.
Oh, it was so bad. But but honestly, I mean, that was just kind of, I knew it was a joke. I was just messing around. Those pork steaks were probably my most ill-conceived idea. But I do all kinds of chicken, man. I do wings. I've been doing wings for years. I've been doing wings for 5 or 6 years, and we'll turn in stuff all the time, different stuff, man. We used to do different cuts of pork, from the butt, all you can do, you know what I mean? Brisket, there's not a whole lot you do with brisket ribs. You can do different types of ribs. I have turned in baby back ribs, and I've scored with them before. So you just get bored.
That ghillie meat, man, was awesome back in the day.
Yeah, I did that. I mean, you only get 1 or 2 butts. So back when they had King of the Smoker, you'd get 2 butts. And so you're sitting there trying to make a box out of it, or 1 butt. They have one in North Carolina where they give you the meat and they only give you 1 butt. And they used to have an Iron Man, I think. But you get 1 butt, man. You can learn how to play off some of those different cuts. And that's sometimes the difference between winning and losing is getting that full box.
Man. Chris, what have you ventured out doing?
Man, we mentioned the ghillie meat, which is it's a hard thing to explain. Brad probably explained it better than me, but I won pork at a Sam's Club event, turning in a thin sliced ghillie meat off the top of the pork butt, which actually essentially it's like the white meat, isn't it, Brad?
It is, and it's on top of the bone. It's what's on top, and when you bone it out, it's the one you're kind of carving around and going around. But you can shape that thing up, and if you pick your pork out right, it's really, really marbled.
Yep.
And you don't necessarily cook it as long as you cook everything else, but you inject the piss out of it, and then you just super really thinly slice it, like deli shaped, and you just lay it in the box. And it's really good if it's right. If it's not right, don't do it. But we used to do it all the time.
Yep.
All the time we turned that in, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and we kind of quit. Kind of went out of fashion. We started because we didn't need to cook it anymore. Now you're just cooking that front half.
That
one
pork
thing I noticed about cooking those pork steaks this weekend is half, the side of the pork steak where the money muscle and the tubes, man, that was tender. But the other side, whether it's that ghillie meat that's on top of the bone, man, it's like a real white meat, and it was kind of dry and stiff, so, and I obviously carved out the soft stuff, and that's the stuff I went in the box with. But man, I don't know if I didn't cook them long enough or if I should have cooked them a little longer.
It's the inferior part of the butt, man. I mean, there's just different muscles. And I mean, when I did those pork steaks, all I did was cook that copa, it's what the Italians call what capicola is made out of. It's just that it's the collar, it's that money muscle with the tubes and everything else. And you just cook that part and you don't have to worry about the other part of it.
That ghillie meat, if you say trim it off, you could almost treat it like a pork tenderloin, take it to 145 and slice it thin, and it's fantastic. But you're not going to cook it to the 200 or whatever. You take everything else and it's dry good. Yeah.
And somebody put something about pork burn ends, which I do all the time, but I mean that's just money muscle, right? Yeah. We just square up money muscle, and they're fantastic. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Well,
that's
I got to figure out what I'm going to do.
With restaurants, I'll cook freaking 6 or 8 money muscles and then figure it out from there.
Yeah. With CBA this weekend, man, I got to figure out if I'm going to do pork steaks again or if I'm going to. It's like, why wouldn't I got perfect. It works. So
did you put them back on the grill and
I did. I sauced
this roll.
Man, I did exactly what you guys said. I cooked it like a rib. So I sauced them up, and put them back on. And I put them back on my Weber.
Did you use a little meat church Blanco on there?
I didn't. I was out of meat church Blanco. I told Phil today, we're on the phone. I said, man, I really want to come out with a white rub, and I just need to get a good name for it. He says, man, I got a great one for you. So what? Blanco. You ought to call it the real Blanco.
Yeah. What is it? Imitations, sincerest form of flattery or whatever. So
yeah.
Apparently, B Church lights Fred's rub.
Yeah, I think so. He liked it a lot. So,
Brad, are you close on your sauce?
Yeah, very close. Just going back and forth, getting labels printed. But yeah, it'll be out soon. It's really good. I ran it in Florida. Ran on pork and brisket and got rewarded with a couple 15th place. But they were all 175s, 174s. It was a good score. Whatever. It was a high scoring contest, and they all seemed to think my stuff was just okay.
Yeah.
But
from a restaurant perspective, Brad, you got new restaurants coming. You've just opened a sandwich one, right?
I did, yeah. Right? Yeah, I opened a place called Mythical Witch there in downtown Branson. It's that sandwiches. I mean, we do our own pastrami, do our own turkey. We're cooking a lot of our own meats, but making just pure sandwiches there. And then I've got a chicken place. We're going to do a charcoal rotisserie chicken, and we're going to be doing some fried chicken. So it's just a little bit of everything, man. Got pressure fryers lined up, man. Trying to, it's kind of funny because I was talking to Mike Johnson from Sugar Fire Smokehouse, and he's opening up a pizza. It's called Pizza, like hot pizza, cold beer or something. Brilliant, gonna be brilliant place, man. It's a great concept. It's gonna be good. And I'm like, man, when are you gonna open? He's like, I think he's like March or April. And I'm like, yeah, me too. And he's like, well, why are you waiting so long to open? He goes, well, I got to learn how to cook pizza first. I'm the same way. I'm like, I got to learn how to fry chicken first. So we're going to open as soon as I figure out how to fry chicken really good. And we'll go from there.
And it'll be in Branson as well, Brad? Or no?
It is, yeah. It's in Branson on the Strip. Yeah.
Brad's trying to own the Strip.
Man, I tell you what, we kind of branched out into Springfield and Nixa, and they do okay. You know what I mean? It's just, we know Branson, we know the Branson market, and obviously with tour season and everything else, and a lot of the problems with the Branson market we've got solved. So for us, it just kind of makes sense to do more concepts in the same market instead of getting Basted, which I don't know how many restaurateurs are out there or budding restaurateurs. Let me tell you a piece of advice that I wish I would have known. And Getting Basted does very well, but barbecue sucks as a business. Your food costs, like we're looking at preliminary food costs on my sandwich shop being at like 26-27%. A good barbecue restaurant's in the high 30s. So right off the top, you're looking at 12 percentage points of profit, right? Just right off the top, just based on the concept. So just, people that want to get into barbecue business, and that's great, not discouraging you. There's been a lot of us that have been very successful at it. So I'd never want to take that away from somebody, but just understand, try to keep, your concept. And one thing I wish I would have known when I was getting in the restaurant business is looking at stuff like, hey, what's the margin going to be on this food? How hard is it going to be to execute? Because barbecue's got terrible margins on the food cost, and it's also very labor intensive to execute. So it's hurting on a couple of different levels.
Yeah, and your number one sellers are always going to be your most expensive things to make too.
Right.
People walking all the time go, oh, what are you guys known for? And I hear my people go, brisket, burnt ends. I'm like, shut up. You love pork.
That's you get barbecue restaurant runs out of brisket down there in Texas by 11 o'clock. There's probably a reason for it, man.
Oh yeah.
It's not that they can't cook any more briskets; they don't want to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like so.
Well, shoot, guys, man, I appreciate. I think we're probably past our hour. Man, we'll do an after show if some people want to join in and shoot the breeze. But equally, man, I don't want to hold you guys. I'll probably in the broadcast, and you guys can stay on. And if there's people that want to jump in and man, go over Smokin on the Rio some more, we can. I know Phil's keen on checking out on going over Smokin on the Rio.
The chicken recipe that didn't work, in more detail, just step by step.
Man, we'll probably get the chicken recipe.
I want to hear.
Hey, Brad, we'll have you back when you get your 7th, which will be in a few weeks. Okay, is that cool?
Oh man, I got to cook here first. I don't know.
Oh, so I was going to tell you earlier, Wes. Like I know Brad's schedule. He's told me it's Fiji, it's Bali, it's Thailand. It's like
there's no doubt.
We're doing some traveling, man. We got Anguilla on deck here. We're leaving, and then taking the kids to the Turks and Caicos for spring break. That's my next two.
Yeah, you tell everybody
it's amazing when you free up the money that you're wasting on barbecue, Wes. It's amazing what you can do. Like literally the thousands. I mean, we're spending thousands and thousands to win hundreds every weekend.
Brad, look, I respect you so much, but I'm going to tell you to shut the fuck up. You're the only guy on here that actually makes money at barbecue. Well, Chris does well too, and then you got Phil. Pretty much everybody but me on here makes money.
I'm not going to say that I may make money, but the hourly rate shit. Let me tell you that.
Pretty low.
You're right.
Pretty low.
I'm working like for $3.85 an hour or something like that. By the time you factor it in.
But trust me, your Facebook photos is going to break me because my wife comes up to me like, "You can't be like Brad. We can't go here." Like the guy.
You and I were going on a vacation together, Wes, and you backed out on us.
Because I didn't win that contest to pay for the deposit.
Yeah, well, I ran out of money too, so I had to back out too. Wes talked us in. He's like, "Man, we're going to do this. On this deal, we're at a contest." Oh yeah, fuck it, sounds fun. Threw my money in there. Next thing I know, Wes like, "Oh, I can't go." I'm like,
"Listen to me. Israel is very cheap right now. If you fly,
you go right now. Yeah, we would have got in right before the shoot.
Let's do this. Let's lock it in.
That'd have been us on there getting. We'd have been on the Al Qaeda or whatever it is live stream, Hezbollah live stream. Shiggin fried with Hezbollah.
That's a different podcast.
That's a completely different show. It probably got a lot better ratings than this one.
I blend right in, man. I'd be in there.
Turban.
You're in. Lay low.
Phil could co-host that one for sure.
A couple sand fleas on you, you're good, man.
I'd lay low.
Well, cool, guys. Like I said, man, sign up to the BBQ League if you're not. I mean, like I said, Brad's that pork video is on there. It's really good. And, man, there's a ton of good tell-alls. Chris is on there. I don't think Wes is on there, but maybe one day.
We'll get Wes on a money-making tutorial, how to make money.
Absolutely, man.
Do like side gigs.
Close business, spend money.
He's got a job. There's no telling what he's making now. Didn't you just get
Yeah.
And I had to have them negotiate, man. Look, it's you're not loyal to any company. You're loyal to the paycheck.
Yeah, right. It's a tough world out there, man. You got to get by.
You should do a whole series. Wes should do a whole series of videos of like how to get 7th in a category.
Oh, there's no doubt, man. I am like soccer. Like they made 13th place trophies. You damn right.
Normally, when you get one of those, you go to a contest and they give you medals down 15th place. Like I'll hang that around my mirror in my truck just for motivation the rest of the year. I'm looking at that motherfucker like 15th place brisket. That's why you're driving to a contest. Man, I got to drive another 4 hours. You look at that thing and now you got the juice to do it. They gave me 15th place.
Speaking of 15th place, have you talked to Blaine Hunter lately or no?
Blaine bought me. He got mad at me the other day. I made a CJ Stroud comment the other day after the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and he got mad. He didn't like it. So Blaine and I are on and off again. Relationships off right now, but we'll make up. We'll make up soon. Yeah, we'll get to a salsa contest soon.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the show for later. We got to have Blaine and Brad on the same time.
A surprise guest.
Got to.
Yeah, he's coming down. I think we're going to go to dinner. We're going to meet up for dinner. He's coming, obviously, for the rodeo. So he'll be in Houston.
I considered kicked around coming down there and cooking with him. And Tim's going to be down there too. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Robert told me. Mr. Timothy Shears, so he'll be down. He'll be down there. And I considered coming down there. I know Anella's coming in from Snake River, and I really wanted to go down there. I'm still burnt a little bit, man. So I wanted to go down there, and I was going to cook chicken for Tim or slide in there with Blaine, and I decided I'd just let those two have all the glory.
Right. Well,
I wanted to give you guys. I know Phil's on a winning streak. He needs another win. I didn't want to come down there and take it from him.
Well, I don't think Phil's liver can take another win. We need to get him a couple of.
That's a good point. He might need to cool off a little bit for his liver.
He's about to lose the family if he keeps this shit up.
Man, appreciate it, Brad. Thanks for coming.
Man, I'm here. I'm looking out for your health.
We love you, Phil. Keep winning, buddy.
Well, cool. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Man, we'll do it. We'll do it again. Somebody's putting in for more shots.
Jesus Christ, we'll give that money back. Don't worry, it's coming back. We're giving it back. No more shots tonight.
Oh. Well, let me hit the end screen, but yeah, thanks for you guys tuning in. Sorry, Joey. I don't know, man. I don't think we're doing any more shots tonight, but man, thanks for all the money coming in, and man, we'll see you next week on episode 5. We'll hopefully we'll get our audio figured out from the jump.
Gets in.